Change the splits. Change the benchmarks. Hey, y'all go get a deal and bring it back. I'll take less. I'll take less. Not much less. Not much less. But I'll take less if y'all source it. Hey, y'all go get the advertiser and the integration. Hey, we talk about these deals all the time. You bring it, you eat different. I bring it, I eat different. You niggas ain't brought shit and got the nerve to have y'all fucking representation and ain't been around in 6 years hit Ian phone about something. I won't say what I want to say, but y'all will not continue to treat me this way. Y'all not gonna continue to treat these people this way. Y'all take that fucking dark energy, that arrogance, and that entitlement somewhere else.
PTSD.
I say all of that to say, we gonna do this. Since Rory feels like he has so many options here. Somehow he still feels like he's running the show. He still feels like he has choices and options. He feels like he's entitled to more. Rory, you are in breach of your contract, and from this point forward, you are fired, and you're not welcome back. Does anybody in here have a problem that I'm the person that has to say that?
No.
Maul, I'm the person that has to say that. The gall of you to think that you are observing the way that I am.
Rory and Maul can go start a podcast. Well, no, they can't. Not at least for another year. By contract. If they do, I'm going to sue the fucking pants off of them. But whenever they're able to, they can go and start a podcast. They can pay for the staffing. They can source the advertising. They can source the integrations. They can pay the insurance.
Studio time.
They could pay for the studio time,
Engineer.
set, location, engineer. They could pay for the LLC formation. They
Furniture.
could pay for the insurance. They could pay what it costs to go on tour. You could pay what it costs for the hours of lawyer work for deals that don't get done. You can go do all of those things, but not here.
Some reason was questioning me and friendship and my character. You was there. You was there.
I was there.
He was questioning my friendship and my character as someone that has overpaid him and overprotected him. Because I speak to academics. Because I did a live with academics.
Why are you not allowed to communicate with this man? I'm so confused with that whole thing.
And that was the same pod that I came in here and said, I was referencing Snowfall. I said, y'all want me to be mad at how another nigga talk? They both sat here and agreed. Yeah. No, nigga. That's what y'all doing. Rory thought that our friendship was in turmoil, and I didn't view him as a friend, and he couldn't view me as a friend because I may work with academics again in the future. We had a show that I think was one of the best shows ever made.
That's a great show.
And we have been getting offers for that show since I left that show. That's on us to do it or not. He don't need it and I don't need it. Nobody needs it. Everybody's rich. Niggas is cute and rich. And vacaying with fiancés. I wasn't that fortunate.
Yeah, you were.
Swim with the pigs.
I was vacating with my baby. Fiancé just has a different ring to it. I still got my ring in the drawer, you know what I mean?
Repurpose the ring.
But I'm saying, he was questioning our friendship based off the fact that I may work with academics again in the future. There is a mutual respect between me and that guy. I'm sorry that the rest of the industry may feel differently about it. I've worked with him. I understand him. I get it. But that was a real bad pod the day that we recorded that when he was mad. And then Maul came in and Rory said, Maul, Joe would work with academics again? And Maul said, yeah, man, but you already knew that. I didn't pay that no mind, that little exchange. But boy, was it important. These niggas been...
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Faxx, and just like that, it's over. The Joe Budden podcast with Rory and Mal is over. Now, we seen the writing on the wall for a while. Remember when Joe told Rory not to come in, and he got into with Maul, and then, listen, friends and business do not mix. Friends and business are like oil and water. They do not mix. They're better separate. And it comes to the point where it's the hard truth, and nobody likes the hard truth. But the hard truth is Rory and Mal were workers. They were workers. They had deluded themselves into thinking that this was a partnership and, they have equity in the business. But no, you guys are workers. It's called the Joe Budden Podcast. As soon as it's called the Joe Budden Podcast instead of something else, you guys don't have no say. You guys don't have nothing. Like, yeah, you're Joe's friends, but don't get it twisted. When it comes to business, friendship and business do not mix. These dudes want equity. They want all these things, right? That has to be negotiated in your contract. And unfortunately, it's one of those unspoken rules where, listen, you guys assume Joe is maybe not calling you a worker to your face, but you are a worker. Joe can fire you at any time. It's the Joe Budden Podcast. Joe said it best. What deals are you guys bringing to the table? Rory, did you bring a Spotify deal to the table? Did you bring a Patreon deal to the table? Did you bring anything to the table outside of show up? No. So why should you get paid more? Why should you get equity? And Joe Budden proved that he can bring anybody to the Joe Budden Podcast and do a podcast. He can do it with anybody. He could do it with any two people he's cool with, two of his friends, two people who know their position, right? And unfortunately for Rory and Mal, yeah, they started this podcast with Joe Budden, but when he got those two other dudes, Ice and I forgot the other dude's name, the fans liked it even better. Joe Budden seen, hold up, wait a minute. I can do this podcast with anybody. Really, it is called the Joe Budden Podcast. It's not the Joe Budden Podcast with Rory and Mal. It's just the Joe Budden Podcast. And Rory and Mal dug their own grave. While they were doing the podcast and elevating their name, their careers, they should have been doing something on the side. Maybe not a podcast, but something, because now they're left in the dust. Joe just said it. They can't do a podcast for a year. So I don't know why they would put themselves in this position. Another thing too, right? Academics have had his knee on these dudes' necks for a while. These dudes were talking crazy on the Joe Budden Podcast about DJ Academics. But Academics was right. You guys are workers. You guys are bums. Like, not bums, but you guys have no equity in anything. You guys don't have no say-so in anything. You guys, Miles surprised that Joe Budden can tell Rory to not come to the Joe Budden Podcast. What makes you the person to say that? Because it's called the Joe Budden Podcast. I pay y'all. I want access to financials. I want transparency. No. Like, it's the harsh reality, and unfortunately, business and friendships do not mix. Again, oil and water. You guys might be trying to paint Joe Budden as the podcast, but he's just a smart businessman. Friendship and business, again, do not mix. And unfortunately, the friendship is going to suffer. Joe Budden tried to rekindle. He tried to make it better. But I think Rory and Mal, they've been seeing what's been going on in the internet, all the videos about them and this and that. And they realized, wait a minute, we don't have any equity. We don't have any say-so. Joe Budden can at any point in time tell us not to come to the pod. Tell us not to do this or that. Like, listen, these dudes can't be talking about equity. They want this, they want that, and bring nothing to the table. Joe Budden said, yo, what deal did you guys bring? Yo, okay, cool. You guys want to get paid more. You guys want this and that. What are y'all bringing to the table outside of just showing up to work because you guys are workers? Again, this is crazy. And it goes to show anybody in the future that, hey, listen, friends, and I don't know how many times I've said this, but friends and business just simply do not mix. Not even a little bit. But ultimately, I hope that Rory and Mal, maybe they'll do something together. Maybe they'll go in their own lane. It can't be a podcast, so they're going to have to be creative and come up with something else. Because, I'm sure they must have signed some non-compete or I don't know, whatever's in their contract. They're both some idiots. I don't know why they would agree to that. I don't know why when they started this podcast, they let it be called the Joe Budden podcast. It should have been called the harsh hip hop truth, or I don't know, something. Like, once you call it Joe Budden podcast, it's literally his. You guys don't own anything. Yeah, y'all might have started together, but it's still his, and they should have sorted that out way in the beginning. Then complaining years later, it's a wrap. Honestly, it's a wrap. Maybe they didn't think this podcast would be as big as it is now, but it's a shame that it had to go this route. And that's what happens in business. Who you started with isn't who you're going to end with. But again, it's your boy Faxx. You agree with me, disagree with me? Do you watch the Joe Budden podcast? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like. It's your boy Faxx. I'm out.